En route to Grand Canyon, we pass through the so-called Painted Desert, an arid stretch of plateau and mesas in north-central Arizona, baked by the sun and formed by action of wind and water over countless centuries. Scientists tell us that about 160 million years ago, this region was a semi-tropical jungle of trees and ferns, inhabited by great reptiles and amphibians. Floods covered the land with mud and sand, then mountains uplifted, and later erosion cut across the many-colored beds of shale and sandstone, leaving this picturesque plateau covering an area of approximately 3,000 square miles, coated by ancient lava flows and dotted with many volcanic cones. This mysterious land with its interesting past has become a proving ground for scientists who would unravel the history of our world. And its ever-changing scenic marvels offer endless inspiration for the artist, while its quiet, peaceful beauty provides a respite for the weary traveler. Towering over this plateau are the San Francisco Peaks, almost 13,000 feet above sea level, the highest elevation in Arizona, named after the Franciscan Padres who came through this beautiful region about 4 centuries ago. Melting snows from the peaks water the neighboring valleys and provide a picturesque grazing land for livestock. In colorful contrast with this peaceful scene of pastoral beauty is that great masterpiece of nature, foremost among the 7 natural wonders of the world, the Grand Canyon of Arizona. Perhaps the first white men to see this Grand Canyon were Coronado's band of Spanish explorers who came upon it about 400 years ago while exploring for gold. According to Indian legend, however, long before this, the first human beings arrived from the underworld by way of Grand Canyon. Overawed by our impressions of this vast abyss, we momentarily turn our attention to a more intimate scene. Hunting within the park boundaries has been prohibited, and consequently it is reasonable to assume that this mild-mannered creature has never heard the blast of firearms. But the lure of Grand Canyon is upon us again, and this time we will view it while driving along the road which encircles its rim. Grand Canyon National Park was established by an act of Congress approved in 1919. It has an area of about 1,000 square miles, is 56 miles long, and from 4 to 18 miles in width, all within the state of Arizona. From hour to hour during the day, the scene changes, and new shadows bring forth new colors, until just before sunset, there falls an ethereal mantle of purple, which no artist has been able to reproduce faithfully. One of the supreme thrills of world travel is a trip down into the canyon on the back of a mule. And while en route, we must say a few words in behalf of the famous Grand Canyon mules. For generations, they have been transporting their burdens along the precipitous trails of the canyon, and their record for sure-footedness and safety is unparalleled. We are informed that over 200,000 visitors have ridden the trails of Grand Canyon on muleback without a fatality. It is a thrilling adventure, however, and one is usually halfway down the canyon before he is accustomed to the uncommon experience of riding a mule downhill and can begin to take note of the interesting scenes along the trail. In normal times, more than 150,000 visitors come here annually to admire the ever-changing panoramas of this awe-inspiring abyss, the total immensity of which is so great that it could swallow up the entire population of the earth and still have room for millions more. Down deep on the floor of this mighty canyon, the Colorado River perpetually winds its way, gnawing into the sands of time and gradually cutting the canyon deeper and deeper as it flows. Let those of us who may have become too impatient with the forces of creation in these troubled times look upon this natural wonder of the world and think of the millions of years it has been subjected to the slow but unfading transitions of time. In the face of this, the importance of our brief span of years becomes so insignificant that our faith in the scheme of things gathers new strength, and we feel if all is not right in man's world today, the eternal forces of creation will make it right tomorrow. And it is with this thought that we say, farewell to Grand Canyon, the pride of creation.